If this is your first time clicking on a ZASKO 2 video, I'm grinding for Radiant both in-game as well as in real life, and I'm releasing a 100% transparent video documenting my journey every single week. Being an APAC player, by default, it's just in my nature to focus on developing my mechanics, so much so that I've been slammed with comments roasting my game sense. This week is very different.
As a duelist, you fight for the space that's required to get the bomb down.
I gain expertise from one of NA's best Radiant coaches, transforming my understanding of being a duelist and changing the way we approach Jet altogether. With our carnivore diet working perfectly, our sleep completely optimized, and the use of learning enhancing supplements, how far can we take our Valorant progression?
If you want to lose, just ask.
And more importantly, how far can we progress on our journey to becoming an extraordinary man? Now, despite this week starting at 5 AM like every single other, there is one massive change. Instead of going straight to the gym, I'm turning on my computer, making my bed, and making it look like I didn't just wake up. And trust me, there is very good reason for it. In fact, today is an extremely special day. Now, as you all know, I upload on Wednesdays, and that's when my week begins. I then work Wednesday to Saturday, always starting at 7 PM and finishing between 10 and 3. This morning is going to be my first coaching session with Dopai, something that I'll be doing every single Wednesday moving forwards. This means I'll train Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, which means that the first morning of the week can go to a coaching session, and then Saturday and Sunday to progressing at Valorant. So of course, now that it's 5:30 in the morning on Wednesday, I get stuck into our first coaching session.
Wow. Okay, so not only did I raise it, we entered.
Just in case you're unfamiliar with who Dopai is, he's a fellow YouTuber as well as a Radiant coach. I'll give you a super brief rundown of everything we went over, however the full analysis will be on Dopai's channel. I highly recommend checking it out because he gets very detailed. The first thing that Dopai realized was that I was running out onto site without a clear purpose. Starting off with the basics, he explained how I should play around the team's smokes.
Smokes creates the arena that you're fighting for, okay? So with deep smokes like this, you're fighting for all of the space on site. As a duelist, you fight for the space that's required to get the bomb down. Do you need yellow to plant? No, unless you're getting flanked. But you went for this timing before the Reyna was dead, so your job in the white rectangle is not finished.
Because I don't look at where my team is smoking.
Yeah, that is a huge awareness thing that we need to have as duelists. Look at the smokes, check the arena, that's the space you fight for.
From there, he explained viable alternatives to just overheating every round and running it down into their spawn, which of course is to find a good post-plant position. This is where I learn about power positions.
When I think of power positions, I think of spots that contest spawn. So if we think of Ascent, Giraffe is a pretty common one. If we think of A-Site, Top Gen, Binds, the power position tends to be up here. Haven is going to be Hell/Graffiti. Then Icebox. I have this spot called God Spot on A-Site. He's in that power position. He's playing it somewhat differently, but he's contesting the choke, right? This choke in this case is Heaven. That's his spot, okay? 9-10. Round right after, where is he? In the exact same position, playing the power position. Round after that, it's 11-10, okay? Where is he again? Power position.
One thing that I was neglecting in my gameplay was making sure that the bomb was down before pushing or trying to make a play. He actually goes through how likely we are to win a round if the bomb is planted versus not, and it was about double.
If you get the bomb down as an attacker, your chances of winning the round are very high. Our goal should be to get the bomb down for us to get that advantage.
Does make sense. Priority is just help the team get that bomb down by taking space in the arena. I think, yeah, that concept is something I was definitely lacking. The last major point that I was left to work on this week was that getting a kill is also taking space, and that I don't just have to mindlessly dash out every single time.
Your job is to make space, but it doesn't necessarily mean to dash out to make space. You can get space by getting a kill. When we go at A or when we go at B, generally it's like an updraft dash onto the site. What does Oxy do? He does an updraft dash. He would activate dash and then run out to take the fight before using dash maybe to go forward or maybe dashing to go away.
With our weakest links discovered, we now no longer have to put our brain power towards figuring out why we suck at Valorant. This week, we don't have to VOD review, and we don't have to try and analyze our gameplay. We have a direction to work on, and that's all we have to do, is simply develop those things. Now, straight from the coaching session, I'm off to work. On my breaks, I'm eating mackerel, and on my way home, I pick up some lamb chops. Sunlight deprivation wasn't in sight, and when I get home, I get stuck into making a to-do list. The first thing that I do on that list is, of course, clean the barbecue. With the amount of meat that we eat, we're barbecuing twice a day, so you can imagine how much I have thrashed this thing. It definitely came out perfect, and the first of many lamb chops were thrown onto it. Getting stuck into the Valorant grind once again, it's straight into our focus training. Once my mental was as sharp as it could be, I move on to my physical warm-up. Normally at this point I always do the ramp warm-up, and that's been a part of our routine for a while. However, I wanted to experiment and see how good I would play if I just did more death matches instead. This was an experiment and I just kind of wanted to see what the results would be. Whether I stick to it or not, I'm not sure. This is where we left off, our comp. So we're going for Ascendant 2. So we'll set the intentions for the game, which is to just really try and play around the arena, discover the arena, and just help the team get the bomb down. Now, of course, absolutely none of the information that I've learned is subconscious yet, and I'm putting most of my brain power towards wrapping my head around these brand new concepts. The results? I feel like I'm absolutely clueless. However, towards the end of our attack half, I was starting to wrap my head around it. You can see the hesitation to push and stay on site, until of course my teammate starts to push and then I tag along with him. And then, of course, I won't lie, to be honest, I start aim dueling everyone again, but don't worry, we'll work on that. One thing that I was definitely able to note is that I didn't feel nearly as warmed up as when I played the ramp warm-up. It was actually like a night and day difference. I step away from the computer for a second to stretch out my back, it felt a bit tight, foam rolling it with the death roller. After that, letting my hands soak in some hot water and washing the dead skin off my arms. This was once again something that I didn't do, which just means I'm not limiting the amount of variables that I could be. Queuing into our second competitive game of the day, we're blessed with Haven. Now, things were looking really good to begin with, however we got ecoed and straight away lost 6 rounds off the bat, and I guess it just absolutely plummeted the team morale.
Look guys, I think the game's over.
After finishing the half 2-10, it felt like the fate of loss was sealed, so I tried my best to make the most of the game anyways, but yeah, it ended up being a loss. One thing that's super interesting is that queuing into this third game felt as if I was queuing into my first game after doing a ramp warm-up. Like, this really solidified the importance of doing it, and I'll never skip it again.
Nice, 120.
Now, we're finally back into the groove of things, hitting some headshots, and winning some rounds. We actually finished the half 7-5. Now, the challenging part. Shift our focus from what we know to what we're trying to learn.
Yeah, do you want to go Heaven?
No, I'm not gonna push. Since the bomb wasn't down yet, I decided to stay on site and hold the space until we get it down. This allowed me to not only trade my teammates, but be in a perfect position to make a play. Something I just wouldn't have been able to do if I solo pushed Heaven. Now at this point, I'm playing as if I would my second game on a ramp warm-up, bloodthirsty and seeking the head. Defense isn't important, but we walked away with a 7-5 half. The goal now is to step foot in the arena and dominate it. I decided to keep my task simple, get myself onto site, make some space, and then try and hold it. My goal is to absolutely contest the spawn flood as best as I can. Getting the first blood wasn't a problem at all. In fact, I did it consistently throughout the entire half. However, once I was on site and I was thinking about my positioning, and that's where my brain power and focus was going towards, I started to whiff a bit more. This is a completely normal price to pay when you're trying to learn something completely new. If you could put your full undivided focus into multiple things at once, you'd be the smartest man alive. However, in this case, we have to sacrifice our performance for a few games in order to take many steps forwards later down the track.
2 more mid.
Dash out on tap. Now, of course, sacrifice performance doesn't inevitably lead to a loss. We keep up our teamwork and try our best and end up walking away with another win. Now at this point I've played 4 games, and I could pivot in another direction, however I really wanted to exercise these brand new skills. I decided to take a break to do some meditation, as well as have a beautiful barbecue. Now of course I'm the narrator and I've got the ability of hindsight, but I actually made a key mistake today that I made last week. Last week we upped our fat intake by getting fattier cuts of meat, and it made a world of a difference. I'm on a fat adapted carnivore diet, so the more fat I get, the better I feel. The mistake though is that the cuts of meat that I bought had barely any fat on them. I once again cheaped out on my meat and selected it based on the price tag and not the meat itself. Now of course last week we figured all of this out, so I end up quickly resolving that the next day. However, I thought I'd give you a little bit of context now. Once on the attack side of this game, I was once again putting my full focus towards these power positions. Once again though, I'm putting my full focus onto pathing and positioning, and I wasn't really winning many gunfights. Towards the end of the game, I was really starting to feel the power of these positions. I was feeling their practicality and I was understanding why they're so important. Now unfortunately they weren't powerful enough to stop the inevitable loss, but that's alright, we're still downloading information. I can play smokes, but someone's got to ping where to smoke.
Don't worry bro, I got you.
Let's go. When I say this is going to be the weirdest game you've ever seen on the channel, I ended up filling smokes. However, the people that stole my duelist just weren't actually playing duelist, so I was brimstone entry fragging. That wasn't the weirdest part though. The team ended up having a massive mental breakdown and they went absolutely off at each other. It was pretty funny.
What are you guys doing?
Wait, got tired. If you keep talking, we'll lose the game. Shut up, tired.
Well, are you gonna call
You keep
me
talking, lose the game, you
Jet?
fucking
You
moron.
insta-lock Jet and you're playing like that.
If you want to lose, then just ask, bro. Ask if you want to lose, bro. I don't care.
Again!
No! Oh my god, I just want to play!
I reckon the funniest part is that while my team was crying like absolute babies, I was actually pulling off some pretty sick brimstone plays. Now, I'm not joking when I say from this point onwards, Jet and Gecko genuinely did not say another word the entire game. Give me the lineup, bro. Let's go team. G up.
Let's go, bro. Let's urge.
Let's urge. It was just Neon and I motivating everyone, and we actually ended up pushing through and getting a win. After finishing that game, I had about an hour of time left, so I decided to put it towards editing. We also hosted our first vote on the ZASKO 2 fund. It ended up being a draw, and I was going to make 2 representatives from each side battle it out in checkers or something, but someone ended up changing their vote, and the Whoop, Stress, and Sleep tracker ended up winning. So with that, obviously we're going to get a whole range of brand new data to work with, and that's going to take our videos to the next level, which I'm really excited about. I realize that some of you might not know what the ZASKO 2 fund is, and well, long story short, basically the income that I make from my Ko-Fi supporters, as well as YouTube channel, all get put into one pool of money where the Ko-Fi supporters vote on what it's spent on. If you do want to be a part of the community and have a bit of a laugh while we try to figure out what to spend the money on, I'll put a link in the description where you guys can join the Ko-Fi. Anyways, we hop off right on time, 7 o'clock, smash out our nutrition with our beef liver, and then swap to candlelight, where we wind down and do some reading before bed. If anything is important, it is getting a good sleep. All the work that we've done today to learn these new skills is all for nothing if we don't download it into our subconscious. That process happens overnight. Upon waking, the first thing I do is rehydrate myself by putting some Celtic sea salt onto my tongue and following it up with a whole bunch of water. From there, we get stuck into our first gym session of the week. We're still doing a full body workout at the moment. I haven't deviated yet, so that means I do 5 different compound movements, 1 for each area of the body. The gym was super busy though, and I didn't get to record too much, so from there, I make my way to work. At this point, unfortunately, I was paying the price of yesterday's leaner eating. I just didn't have as much energy today. Obviously, I know exactly what to do and how to fix it now, so I buy myself some really fatty cuts of meat. I made sure that as soon as I arrived home, I was straight to the barbecue and I was cooking up a storm. These are my absolute favorite lamb chops, and they just have so much fat on them, but the fat is so easy to eat for some reason and it just tastes so good. Moving on, however, I decided we're going to take our Valorant to the next level, supplementing my favorite supplement of all time, Alpha GPC, as well as creatine. Creatine, being the supplement for the gym that everyone knows and loves, also has some cognitive benefits. Alpha GPC though is something that increases acetylcholine, which is a key hormone in the process of learning. I'm not joking when I say this is meta. Once again, we're getting straight into our focus training, clearing our mind and sharpening our vision. From there, it's straight into the physical warm-up where we're increasing our blood flow and getting ourselves G'd up to play. This time though, eliminating every single variable possible, I make sure not to skip the washing of my arm. Keeping in that theme, I make sure that I don't make the same mistake as yesterday and I smash out the entire ramp warm-up. From there it was deathmatch and then we get straight into our first competitive game. We finish our defense half once again 7-5. And now swapping over to the attack, we've got one goal in mind. Get ourselves into that power position. However, this game it was proving itself to be a bit of a challenge. Gecko, they always play here and here. So maybe if you flash, I'll pick off the flash. After finally battling my way to the back of site and getting into the power position, from there my goal is to have as much impact as possible from this spot. However, I didn't really play it to the best of my ability and don't have that much impact anyways, but at least we're getting ourselves into these spots. Pretty much every single round of the attack half I was getting myself into this power position and trying my best to play it. What I could do here is really overanalyze why I felt like I wasn't playing my best. I could go on a tangent about eating too lean yesterday and blah blah blah, but you know what, let's just leave it and accept it as is. A win is a win, and that's what we walked away with. Now besides the power positions itself, the focus was simply playing around the arena. In this case we have a CT and Heaven Smoke, so that's exactly the space that I fight for. As soon as I'd either get out onto site or get my first blood on site, I was scaling as far back as I could without overheating. Now that we've had our first good sleep since our practice sessions and our study session, the information that's been put into my subconscious mind is definitely starting to show here. I felt as if it was coming more naturally and I was able to put so much more attention towards my aim when it was required. Ultimately, our extremely dominant performance on attack set us up for a great defense and subsequently a great victory afterwards. Now I decided to limit myself to 3 games today so that I could put more attention towards other areas that matter. Someone hold the cross with me. Someone go graffiti. Keeping in mind the power positions, our attack side on the A side was pretty good. However, I kind of forgot about the other sides. B side especially, I didn't even really have a place to play. I felt like this game I kind of was just defaulting to fragging out and trying to dash out and kill people, and I felt like I was lacking a bit of purpose. Maybe Haven is something I'm gonna have to really revisit. As unfortunate as it is to finish a half 4-8, especially the one we're trying to work on, swapping over to defense side, that's where we thrived the most, and we definitely fought back hard. We brought the scores all the way back to 11-12, however unfortunately that final round we were on eco and we just couldn't pull through, leading to our last game being a loss. Nevertheless, we get some good food into us and it's on to more important business. If I play any more games, it's a diminishing returns. So now we can work towards our quest of becoming the next Scream. Scream in his prime. I think he's a bit washed now. Okay, double my sensitivity. That's good for static. We'll do double sensitivity. What I'll do is I'll play 1 round. We'll actually VOD review our aim run. Then we'll figure out what's actually wrong with our static clicking. Then we focus on it. We really try our best to just absorb as much information and correct as many mistakes as possible. And then we go from there, you know? Then we become Scream, all right? Then we become Scream. Straight away, we can actually see some flaws. That was an over flick. Missing the full flick. Missed the full flick again. I don't even have to dig that deep. It's the accuracy of our initial flick. Cool. Okay, that gives me a direction to work on. So I need to clean up my lines and I need to just make sure that I'm not over flicking. So even if I do get a straight line, I want to make sure that I'm not landing past the target because that's suboptimal. The way that I structure this session is by putting my entire focus just simply on the lines, not scores or anything else like that. And every 10 minutes or so, I take a break to let my brain process these learnings. You can see that because I'm consciously putting an effort to make my lines straight, they are straight, and the goal is to get a really good sleep tonight in combination with the alpha GPC and have these lines become subconscious and the ones I do by default. So I've done about half an hour of 1 more 6 targets small. Now I want to do my wide flicks because those were lacking, like even straight away over flick. So yeah, I just want to work on my wide flicks now. Overall, I complete about an hour's worth of aim training before of course 7 o'clock hits, we swap to candlelight and we get ourselves a really good sleep. Now, off to the gym, I decided to get a little bit experimental once again, bringing back an old concept called myo reps. I did a bit more research and I did find some studies that show that it is equally effective at hypertrophy and there's not a difference between doing myo reps and normal reps. However, the one takeaway was that the time spent doing this exercise is a hell of a lot less. It's something I've done in previous videos, however I'll re-mention it now. I would smash out a set of say 20 reps, go to absolute failure, and then I would only take about 3 breaths before going and getting stuck into my next set from there. From there, I perform 5 more sets, all with just a 3 breath break. So you basically pump out the sets and you're very fatigued the entire time. For the workout itself, I decided to do a chest day and just smash out as many chest exercises as possible. I once again perform my Maya reps for every single one of them and get the workout done extremely fast. There definitely is a massive impact on the time spent in the gym when you use this method. I just wonder if it is as effective as normal hypertrophy. From there, it's a shift at work, some mackerel fish, and a barbecue as soon as we get home. I once again take our creatine and alpha GPC. However, the funny thing is I ended up spending the next couple hours talking to family and friends, and since I'd already had my alpha GPC, I guess I'm never going to forget that conversation, and unfortunately it won't be as effective going into our Valorant games. Now the time felt like it was slipping away, so I get straight into our focus training, physical warm-up, and mechanical warm-up. Last night we did static, so I don't know why my tracking was so much better today, however it was. But honestly, the difference between my static clicks now and yesterday over one single night is ridiculous. When you hear people say learning is a long process and you can't expect results overnight, chances are they're not referring to the type of people that get perfect sleep and take alpha GPC while putting their full focus into uncovering as many mistakes in their gameplay as possible before further optimizing their learnings with meditation. In those specific cases, yes, you see results overnight and it is ridiculous. This is where we're up to. 3 beautiful games off of Ascendant 2. We gotta set the intentions for today though, because we need to make sure that we're focusing specifically on what coach has told us to focus on, okay? Now the main focus for today is not just dashing out for no reason. As Dopai explained, we could pop our dash and seek a duel, making space in the process, as well as saving our dash for times where we can actually get value from it. I definitely felt like I was so much more impactful, no longer overheating, getting into those power positions, and assuring that the bomb gets down before we make any stupid plays.
I can counter him.
Yes, I feel Now I truly understand how I could be playing when we're in an advantageous position. Before understanding the concept of good positioning, it didn't really matter whether we were up or down in players. All I really knew how to do was push anyways. Now, when we knew that they were playing on site and that they could be close, I do dash out as a variation to our entries. However, of course, the second my job is done and I've created that space, I was going straight to the power position, like there's just no other alternative. Overall, the game was really fun and my static abilities were definitely much better. However, it wasn't enough to win the game and we do end up unfortunately losing. Let's formulate a plan, guys.
Yes, sir. What's the plan?
That was for you to do, guys. I don't know. Now, our next game ended up being on Haven once again. And one thing that we're definitely going to have to do is learn how to better work around enemy ciphers. Someone hold cross, someone hold cross. I definitely lean towards the A site, knowing that that is my preferred site, as I've got a bit of a game plan. It's a 4v1, and I'm still saying, chill, let's hold the cross. Of course, the other sites were the exact same as last time, though I was just dashing on to frag out. We ended up having a really good attack half, and I think a massive part of that was because I was no longer just mindlessly dashing onto site, but instead I was actually popping my dash and intentionally clearing as many angles as I could. In combination with the feeling of confidence that I have, I was enjoying playing this way so much more. Our defense, of course, was just another textbook half. We absolutely smashed the rest of the game and secure another win. And of course, we bounced back with a 3-12 loss on Icebox. I eat some food, I get a bit of editing done, and then I hop off for our 7 o'clock wind down. Once again though, securing another really good 9-hour sleep. This morning, instead of any extra training, I decided that the smartest thing to do would be to get as much of my video done as possible, hoping that my weekend will be a little bit more stress-free. Today I do end up working a longer shift, finishing at 3 PM, so I end up eating my chicken on my first break and mackerel fish on my second. On my way home, I stopped by the hardware store to grab a few supplies. I decided to make this a rest day from both the gym and Valorant, and instead solve a problem that I've been wanting to solve for a while. Months ago, I bought myself a SAD lamp because I just simply couldn't get enough sunlight in order to combat the sunlight deprivation. The solution was to buy a SAD lamp, however the problem with the SAD lamp is that I don't actually get to use it when I need to get other things done. And why would I sit there doing the SAD lamp when I've got a video to upload or I've got to get on my grind? Today, I was feeling the effects of sunlight deprivation. It doesn't impact my energy levels as much as eating lean does, but it does impact my mood and definitely gives me feelings of sadness. Of course, a skill that I've really developed is my metacognition, so the second I feel sad, I don't tolerate it at all. I just find a solution, and that's exactly what I'm doing here. Well, what is that solution, you might be asking? Great question. I attached my SAD lamp above my monitor, so while I'm editing or doing any sort of work, I can get my sunlight. Anyways, the next thing I do is get outside and get some sunlight while cooking a barbecue. This was definitely a leaner cut, so I compensate with some extra butter in order to make sure I get the right amount of fat for my diet before hopping onto Kovacs and smashing out another aim training session. Today's focus was target switching. I ended up focusing on the exact same things as last time. Of course, however, we're doing target switching instead. Clean lines, straight lines, and just making sure that I'm not over flicking at all and that my full flicks are landing as accurately as possible. Another highly optimal sleep down, getting as much of that information downloaded as possible. I'm feeling ready for our final day. The first half of my day goes towards editing this week's video. From there, I smash out as many lamb chops as I could stomach. And then of course, the warm-up routine that allows us to reach our peak performance. We've now done 2 highly optimal aim training sessions, as well as a week of game sense study. These games here were going to be a benchmark of how much we can learn in a single week, and I think it's pretty fair to say that this deathmatch here was definitely setting the bar high. Feeling extremely confident going into our games, our first map was Lotus. Starting off on the attack side, things were looking really good. I was feeling extremely confident in myself, and the team was somewhat coordinated. We ended up walking away with a 7-5 half before stepping foot onto the defense side. Now, of course, as we know, defense is where we absolutely thrive. You just always know it's going to be a really good day when we're walking away from our warm-up game as the match MVP. Now, the following game is definitely a showcase of our mechanical ability in combination with our brand new game sense. The attack side was both a combination of our aggressive and mechanically dominant playstyle, as well as finding times to slow down, help get the bomb down, and hold those power positions. My favorite of which being the ledge on B side where we can hold heaven. It perfectly maintains enough space for the bomb to get down, as well as ends up catching so many players off guard. Now, flipping over to defense, I was having an absolute blast on our retakes. I was basically applying the exact same concept where I pop dash and go out and duel everyone, and despite being down on score, we were actually bringing the game back. A couple kills later and we're into overtime where we win the actual game. The goal for this session was to finish at about 60 or 70 RR, so going into the next week, we're in a super good position to hit Ascendant 2. The fuck?
Careful, the bridge have all, guys.
Jizzle, yeah, get offside. Waterfall, breach, waterfall. You can definitely see that my ability to play around the game was definitely improving. Understanding that the breach ult could definitely change the way the round turns out, and adapting quickly to make sure that I don't get hit by it and still have as much impact as possible in the round. I was still popping dash and running out onto site, only using it if need be, as well as sticking to our true purpose of making sure that the bomb is planted before we do any kind of flowy crazy stuff. Now, of course, when we walk away with a 7-5 half, we know that the game is in the bag. Our defense side is just so much better. Now, of course, I won't lie, getting a 4K in the first round of defense definitely set the tone for the rest of the half. After winning the pistol round, buying a Guardian, and then winning the anti-eco, we proceed to thrifty them and win the next 4 rounds. However, some of the shots that I was hitting were disgusting and it was just feeling so crisp today.
Oh, 113.
Nice one.
Not only do we put on a performance, but we put on a 30 kill match MVP performance, proving that we not only deserve the Ascendant rank, but we deserve beyond it.
120.
Now, we finish our defense side 7-5, which means we're really going to have to put on a performance throughout this attack half. However, once again, we meet the villain of the episode, the Cypher main.
Oh, hang on.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
This game was getting way too close. We're sitting at 10-10, and I know that this game will put us on our rank up. In fact, we do end up pushing through, and we do end up on our rank up, solidifying our decision to play our final game of the week. I don't know how and why I always end up ranking up on the last game of the week, but geez, it makes for some good dramatic content.
I'm gonna go wide if you want to jiggle the close angle.
Last week we went from 0RR, Diamond 3 to Ascendant. This week we actually dropped back down to Diamond 3 and we are now on our rank up game to Ascendant 2. But honestly, for our final game, I'm gonna let you guys enjoy it.
Right now, market.
I'm low.
Alright, I'm gonna call it there for the footage. We'll go over the benchmarks, but that's good. That's good. Alright, first things first, based off of the rank up trend, okay? We are due to hit Radiant week 24, alright? 1 rank per week. We're gonna just keep it going, alright? Next week, Ascendant 3, no excuses. But we did so with a 64.7% win rate. Not bad. Headshot percentage was high. Aim benchmarks I still haven't touched. However, the health stuff is not exactly amazing. Like, pretty much all measurements across the board are down, especially weight. This one sucks. Don't stress though, I got corrective measures, alright? Corrective measures are on the way. I feel as if our willpower is also a bit lower because we only hit 15-minute, well, it's kind of a trend at the moment, 15-minute max for meditation, and also at the same time, unfortunately, we got our YouTube time watched back up to 7 hours. Once again, an additional 5 hours wasted in the week I could have been putting towards the grind or anything. I do have a corrective measure that will completely abolish the YouTube time watched and get us pretty much sorted surrounding it. It's just a bit of a hectic one and I just need to pull the trigger, but I know once I do though that productivity and willpower will skyrocket and we'll probably end up getting all our other stats so much higher, so it's just a massive one to get on top of. Net worth, I put $100 into savings, so that's like basically on our way to becoming a millionaire. Not only that, but I worked an additional 2 hours above my contract. I'm on a 20-hour contract now. Up until this point I was on 25, so at this point onwards I'm on 20. The last thing is just an additional 2 hours of aim training, which definitely made a difference and something I'm going to carry forwards. Guys, this marks the end of another week of grind. I appreciate all the support very much, and a massive shout out to the Ko-Fi supporters as well. I try my best to respond to every single comment and have a bit of a discussion, so if there's anything you want to talk about or any concerns you might have, head down to the comments. Otherwise, enjoy your grind for the week, and I'll see you all next week.